The police rung my buzzer one evening while my pregnant wife and I were sitting down to dinner. My first thought was, fuck, what have I done? And then, I don't do illegal shit anymore. And then they asked if my dad was Glenn Wallin, so I let him in. The policewoman sat around our table, half-eaten dinner. She was awkwardly mumbling apologies. He'd succumbed to a lifelong addiction to alcohol and had died alone in his flat in Melbourne. And I realised I really didn't know that much about my father's life. I'd seen him a handful of times since I was 3, and when I found out that I was going to be a dad, I knew I had to get clear with him, so I finally reached out. And we'd been reconnecting through short handwritten letters or notes. He sent 3, I replied once, and there was less than 300 all capitals words exchanged between us, but we were gearing up to have a conversation. And it was no surprise to us that he suddenly passed. We kind of knew about his lifelong passion for alcohol. But instead of feeling grief for a father that I didn't have, I instead felt like I'd left it too late to get to know the man that he was. So we left Nowra and we drove to Melbourne. My sisters and I entered his apartment with cleaning products and garbage bags, and I brought a camera because that's what I was doing. I was looking for an insight into his life, something to help fill in the last 33 years, but this is what we found instead. It's the last, most intimate, but brutal kind of points of reference you could ever have with a person. I remember opening the door and just looking at all this and going, I need more time here. Very little had been touched since the Ambos had removed his body from the flat, and I just wanted more time to take in all the details before my sisters sorted things out and chucked it away, because they don't fuck around. But I was instinctively drawn to this coffee table scene, which was in front of his bed, and it was full of objects of everyday life and these scraps of handwritten notes on bits of paper. And I thought, this is so surreal. I'm a stranger in my own father's home, and I'm here once only. But instinct kicked in, I picked up a camera, and I shot the shit out of it. We were in and out in 2 short days, and then we're off to illegally spread his ashes in a favourite spot from his childhood. That's for a different Ignite. And that was it. Dad was gone. I came home, we had 2 kids, life got mental. But his images wouldn't let me go, and I kept revisiting them. Like, I was just attracted to the most gritty reminders of his struggle in between sleepless nights, raising kids, working. I kept editing and re-editing this sequence, building some grand statement about estrangement and addiction, but really I was just rehashing my own trauma. 2 years later, still going. Art therapy, anybody? But I finally attend a photographic storytelling workshop with a bunch of other Australian photographers, and I am shitting my pants putting this mess out on the table. But the group dive in with absolute objectivity, and what kept emerging was a really powerful focus on his everyday items and his handwritten notes. And these were the final thoughts and moments of my father's life. And I realised I had to get out of the way to let his humanity shine through. And so this was a turning point. And this opened a door for a slow journey back to a point of contact and a sense of acceptance. I'd wanted a chance to get to know him as he was, but I just hadn't seen it. And in reality, I'd never been so close to him as I was in these moments. I got to witness his thoughts, his struggles, and his dark sense of humour. This is a rubber bat with my grandmother Pam's name under it, his former mother-in-law. And so the series became a celebration of this man's life, my father, rather than a comment on his struggle. I thought I was too late, but in reality I wasn't. I was just bloody lucky. And so the series premiered at Head On Photo Festival here in Sydney. It was featured in Australian Photography Awards Stories Annual, but it sparked so many conversations in people around me, friends and complete strangers. And so if this says something to you, you could do what I did, which is not speak to your dad for 20 years, then forensically document the scene of his death, spend 6 years, countless hours and thousands of dollars presenting it to the world, condense it into 5 minutes for a room full of strangers, Or just pick up the fucking phone before it's too late. Thank you.